Welcome, welcome to the lovely IHP community and the 5D Collective. For those who regularly tune in, as I've been sharing with you, expect there to be a pause of content at a certain point. So if you do want to just stay up to date, like, share, subscribe, the notification bell, all that stuff. The sharing is with people you know would enjoy the content, and that's for the community. If you're new, you're obviously like, well, who are you? I don't know anything. Well, one, I'm a 5D mystic, self-help, mindful, mentor, content creator, podcast host. Above all, I'm on a mission to tell you all about myself. How self-centered is that, huh? It is the ability to bring out the best in others that makes you a leader. Thank you, Sadhguru. And I actually have a lot to say about that one, because if you tune into the shorts, I won't repeat myself. But if you don't tune into the shorts, you will not hear it. So I will repeat myself for those who did tune into the shorts. Bear with me. And that's how I'm going to bring it to you. So number one, Robert Sapolsky. He's written a great book. It's called Determined. Haven't read it all yet, Robert, but I am looking forward to it when I can get to it. In the meantime, he's got a couple interviews out there, one of which I took a quotation of what he shares for the brain stuff. Oh, I am the woo-woo pseudoscience lady, but I know what knowledge is. And that's the one thing a leader does, is doesn't make up Wendy stories. So while I may use my mystic, yes, again, woo-woo pseudoscience, I know where I get the data from. And I'm not going to try and prove it because I'm not the researcher in the labs, but I know where to go to see my subject matter experts, and they talk about all this stuff. So I know exactly what data is versus what people apparently think data is, which is just one expert giving you their idea. And so again, leader, sure, there's a bunch of people that like their fake leaders, is what those who want to use fake and true, I'm going to use it differently. Because God keeps chiming in and reminding me not to judge human suffering, and so do my counsels and guides and you name it. And actually, Buddha teased me a little bit in a recent hypnotherapy session that I had the honor to, the life before life, it's therapy transmission session. I forget what the T stands for. Anyways, it was hilarious as he's, like, haha, I can see you teasing me, Maria, because I tease him in a couple of I don't tease him. I tease the definition of the truth of what is Buddhism, the number one, that this life, this existence is suffering. I'm like, where? I don't see it. I don't perceive this. My body don't feel suffering. I'm not sure why you're dragging pain points around. So Buddha was teasing me alongside Jesus. Jesus wasn't teasing me. He just knew everything already because I have a relationship with Jesus. I went to Christian Catholicism and I love Jesus. He's my man, not mine. He's everybody's man. But the point is, God is my direct source, and I don't really talk to anyone else. But, it's funny because in my council, there's one person, and it is, from the future. I'm from the future. But really, when I think about it, I'm like, am I really from the future? I'm just a healthy self-worth functional child adult. I'm purely that. Meaning that you can do it too. Like, not kidding. Robert Sapolsky, let me read your quote. Your frontal cortex is the part of your brain that is the freest from genetic influences. People say, genes, don't bring genes into me. Look, again, I'm not the expert, but I know they're experts. And you don't want to believe it, you don't have to. If you don't want to feel good inside, go somewhere else. I will not be tending to the people who don't want to get to the best of themselves. That's why they have their leaders. They're very, very, very buffoon, might I add, leaders, which we're going to integrate some channel guidance and food for thought. We talked about this yesterday, but they're not buffoons. I will bow my head down to those of fear because they're not Lucifer. No. The unseen are the Ursula song. Anybody from The Little Mermaid? Poor unfortunate souls, so sad, but true. Well, their soul isn't unfortunate, but they certainly could have gone to Patrick Tian to get all of that unseen stuff and the past that's living through them, the unfinished business, or Terriel. No, they don't have to be doing shadow work on a screen or pretending to do it by actually thinking that their fixed, very rigid personality patterns, which is not flexible at all, is their rainbows of colors. So maladaptive patterns of behavior is what you see from those who are in our 3D, 4D frequency brothers and sisters. They believe the one is medieval times, one subject matter expert, I don't know, Wendy's, you just name it. Limited consciousness has this idea that your brain can fall out of your ass. And I'm like, what, your ass? Because my brain don't fall anywhere. I can hear that you are limiting the capacity for a human being to be enlightened and to assimilate more information. It seems you don't like that science and spirituality touch. You might be one of those non-bilaterally integrated brain people who doesn't have an open heart, because you obviously don't know how to tend to what is coming up. Unbridled self-expression, right, wrong person who's leading me down the path of Hansel and Gretel, which I know all about. And smart scientists can tell you how smart people can do that stuff. And I could do it too, but I didn't go about my mission finding out about restorative embodiment, self-awareness, accountability and regulation, your health, because I'm like, I'm going to prove it. No, I actually said, I want to be myself. No, I am myself. I'm teaching you the inner growth mindset to be yourself. Why do they need you, Maria? Well, now I know why, because people don't know how to exercise thoughts and emotions with ease. And that's why you have somebody who says, I can do it, you can do it too. Am I a leader? I'm going to say I don't feel like that much of a leader, because it's just a child inside of me. And the difference, though, is I don't have anyone on a temple, and that's words, and that's any. And so, I think sometimes of how they criticize the Christian Catholics, because we have crosses in our churches and we have all of that which people will talk about. And I understand they're talking about the riches and whatnot, but what I am trying to get to is the whole icon thing. Yes, so you get a person who is an empowered feminine, who is connected to source. You use whatever word you want. They have no power. It's actually a frequency. I don't need words. I love words, though. That's my empowered masculine, because I got an inner growth mindset. I'm using a prefrontal cortex, but you speaking to me, keep talking. You're going to see a blank stare. It's not one of shame. It's one of, I'm a ventral vagal state. And my 1-year-old and 3-year-old got taught by my mother what self-respect looked like and what a grown-up, but you come to me, however it is she told me. All I know is I chose her on purpose, and I knew I would get exactly what I wanted. And in fact, in my LBLT, I got all of it. It was amazing. I have to tell you all, it's a most amazing experience if you haven't done it. And back to Determined, Robert Spolsky, even though this isn't from his book, this is from an interview. Okay, so the frontal cortex is the part of the brain freest from genetic influences, because it's still being sculpted by the environment and experienced a quarter century after you've plopped out of there, meaning out of the womb. Whereas most of the rest of the brain, your brain, is sculpted by 2 to 3 years worth of experience. And he says, wow, we evolved. Our genes evolved to free our frontal cortex from strict genetic determinism and to make it much more sculpted by the environmental determinism. People who are in the spiritual community who don't like to hear about genes, and in fact they have a museum that teaches only about Adam and Eve and the made-up Adam and Eve story, because I found out that was not part of the original Bible. So once I found out they're adding stories, I'm just like, you know what? You're lying all over the place. I have a direct relationship with God, and he is discerning and quantumist love, and you're from the medieval times, and I learned all about the institutions from my political science degree. I don't need a conspiracy. I know exactly what's going on, and well, I'm going to leave that alone. But the point that I was trying to make is that genes is not something yucky, and Darwinism isn't something yucky. So what I can tell you as a person, any leader who is supporting ignorance, what was it that mastered this life, this very truth, the suffering? No, it ain't suffering, but yeah, ignorance definitely creates that which is suffering, because the greed and hatred, that comes from poor unfortunate souls. So sad, but true, past self, unkind people who could go to Patrick Tian or Terreal or even Dr. Daniel Fox to heal all of themselves, and then come back around and let me know about life, because there ain't no suffering going on in here. So again, while I get told to not judge it, I also got teased, because the very way that I get to keep bringing you IHP content is by being able to hear all of those who, instead of taking themselves seriously and being motivated to be their self, ew, what are you talking about? I need to perform in love. Wedding bells, that lady in her suit and that man. So being yourself means that you are able to be who you are all by myself because it's securely attached and non-traumatized. I self-regulate in my ventral vagal state without you, which is why when I'm in a room of depressed human beings, I don't notice it because usually I'm not in that type of room. But you better bet that even if I'm near people who are in their sympathetic, I don't notice it. No, we'll notice something, but just it won't affect me the same because compassion, I'm not actually in my mirror neurons, which some of the sciences don't have enough proof for and say they're not real. At the end of the day, the way the brain works, though, when you're in a physiological state of compassion is the insula lights up, the amygdala, because it'll be alerted to outside for the average amygdala, not all, because of that stuff and how the brain is made. And then the temporal junction, which is where all of that past stuff, the 2-3 years comes up. Thank you. And that's why that Zen master still has laundry and, everybody who wants to suffer and drag their pain point around. I move into my prefrontal cortex because I use my executive decision-making function areas because I have an integrated brain. So I don't do default mode network, scan Maria and others. I don't give a shit about you, meaning your opinion, my opinion. What do you want? I'm a differentiated self. You can't spank me. It's my body, I said to my mother. That's it. She spanked me and I went to make my suitcase. And differentiation of self means Maria's thoughts, Maria's feelings. No, I'm not you. My body, my brain, mine, my life. You told me my life. And so with that being said again, my mission, it is to inspire higher human potential life at Inspiring Human Potential, anywhere you see me. And it is through my life and stories. That way I can make it all about Maria. And that way you can hear how fun it is to have personalities. Thank you, Dr. Anya Siegel. It is a filter through which our temperament deals with us as one nervous system. And it's a nervous system body. Remember, body, brain, it's one thing. Embodied brain, being here on earth. And in awareness, I'm a mindfulness practitioner with mindset skills and the inner growth mindset that I created. As you all know, the main modules are for free on the website. You can go check them out. And in awareness, I do become aware of who I really am. And it is not the personality patterns, but I do work with it. Yes, all of the personality patterns in the subcortical areas to a point. And that PDP framework, Dr. Daniel Siegel, I love it. So being a leader, again, does not mean dominating the situation. It means empowering people to do what they would not have imagined possible. And furthermore, remember, please, that mindset is everything because Lisa Feldman Barrett, the brain is running a model of its body. And she plays a little thing with Dr. Bessel van der Kolk because he says the body keeps the score. And she's like, well, the mind keeps the count because your stories are what come up first. And that's true because 2-year-olds, yeah, they have a bunch of stories. They tell you death is easier than living because this body weighs me down. And that's okay. That needs a therapist like Pat Ogden. So you can get out of trauma time. You can complete whatever movement your body was trying to do. You open your window, welcome to affect, go to Janina Fisher, like get out of that weighed down body. Because trauma is not a story of something that happened in the past. One, it lives through you. And everything you do, maladaptive patterns of behavior, it ain't Lucifer. Nope, trauma is the imprint that all experiences leave on your soul and your body as your sensations. Thank you, Bessel van der Kolk. So, again, Determined, his book makes sense, although I haven't read it yet, because if you don't understand the first 2 years of life impact you consistently. And until you are a higher self of yourself, you ain't really going to be a leader to me, but you will be a leader to those who want to follow poor unfortunate souls. So sad, but true. They need to have a superhero, supervillain in order to feel that they have a purpose because they haven't learned to master the one thing that is called not only their heart, because that's when you're securely attached and untraumatized. The heart means that you can calibrate, means you can get sad, get mad. You can get all of those, disgusted, surprised, afraid, and happy without anyone. So I can do that without anyone. That doesn't mean you're by yourself. You can do it with anyone because, again, you're securely attached, non-traumatized person. So you self-regulate independently from relationships. And so I don't need a relational field. And when I'm in a relational field, here's what happens. As the Dana and Stephen Porges point out to those who are ill, I don't want to be anchored in ventral energy. Attachment wounds flare up. shit goes up. And luckily for us, though, we're all grown-ups. I mean, I am at this point, so I don't have to deal with it. But inner and outer well-being, they are consistently in my reach thanks to me being anchored in ventral energy. I live use stress every day and not distress, even though people think that I don't, but I do. I know the difference, and as Dr. Daniel Siegel put it, we're still going to get anxious. It's just our body's doing it with the ventral vagal state and the prefrontal cortex, and so you self-regulate easily. And that doesn't mean you like to be put into situations where you might physically die, but I keep getting reassured that I will live a long, long life. So I know God doesn't lie because, and then I am also, thank you, Sam Harris, grounded in reality, knowing that any of my cherishable beliefs could be falsifiable, which is why I am woo-woo pseudoscience, but I know what Maria's talking about because I'm not a dum-dum. Having all my child parts whole and myself leading with my higher self, that's an integrated brain, sideways, vertically, all of it. Up doesn't go down, sideways doesn't go out, and I say, hey, what you doing? And I'm a functional child adult who has healthy self-worth, agency, so yes, empowered couples, they're actual badass in their prefrontal cortex. They're not stupid. Yes, the angry circuit of all people when it gets overloaded. We're going to have another episode. I'm going to keep this one short. So my life as a mystic, spiritual, and mindfully living, loving person is proof that you can tap into being yourself, be you, and you can tap into your infinite higher human consciousness potential experience, and you can join us here for that experience in and of itself. As I will love to make fun of poor unfortunate souls. So sad, but true, without pointing fingers, though. I will not be doing any of that, because I have integrity. So I'm not ashamed of Maria, and I'm not ashamed of my brothers and sisters of fear. And I'm not going to go down there again. I judge it not because it's good or bad. I actually judge it because don't waste my fucking time, masculines. I didn't ask you. I did not ask you to be in my presence like this. And to my facade friend, all I asked was to be yourself. What's up with this, dude? I asked you clearly after I didn't speak to you for 5 years, and I'm yelling at him in his face. And he's like, so be yourself, mindful, flawed, and with integrity. I'm just as imperfect as anybody else can be, but I do know that being you means I do not control anything at all, but I do influence everything. And thank you as a 5D Mystic, self-help, mindfully living, loving person, mentor, content creator, and podcast host. If you want to check out an amazing human being and what he has to say about the chaos theory, we control nothing, but we influence everything. His name is something along the lines of Brian Crass, and it's Big Think. Go check it out. He's amazing. And with that being said, we'll be back with, again, some channeled guidance, food for thought for those of you who do appreciate this type of support on your self-agency journey. Again, you be you, I be me, and we're in good company. And thanks for stopping by. Like, share, and subscribe. Again, remember, we're going to be paused for a bit, but I will be back. So if you do put that little notification bell, and you can follow us on Spotify for podcasters, all the audio podcast, other platforms that I'm on. And really, you find me anywhere and everywhere. I'm an online marketer, content creator, again, entrepreneur. I've been 2000, I'm losing count at this point, 2010. So with that, I love being here. I love that social media gets us to be together. And again, enlightened ones do know, walk like an Egyptian, love and fear together. I will read to you something that I wrote so that you can actually understand from my heart to your heart what it is to know this depth of truth without needing it to have shape. Let me count the ways that I love thee in a discerning, equanimous, conscious way. Let me count the ways that I love, the smiles you bring to my heart, the silence you fill with awe and splendor, the essence of life and love that you are, the magic that the mere expression of you holds, the embodiment of the infinite and unknown splendors of life that you bring to me each day. I love thee for that which our fusion creates. It is love and life in form, completely conscious of being, and awakened in every breath, thought, and action we take, both together and apart. Let me count the ways I love thee in knowing that together we bring to life that which is deemed impossible to be experienced by a mortal being. The experience of love and life in its utmost unlimited and infinite expression and potential. And that is something that came along the time when I got this lovely double infinity. And it is pure bliss to let you all know that as you grow light body, light body, light body to rainbow body, mystic here, you don't lose shit. Those who lose shit, meaning people, yes. Do you know what an adaptive child part person is? To Terry Real, they have a losing strategy because with partners they argue and do bunch of stuff. To Patrick Jan, they continue being unkind and dating beneath themselves and doing everything, including making sense of toxic relationships, and they basically have all unfinished business. So they're all playing out their subconscious. Your 8-year-old on a wheel. They save each other, but they really don't save each other. But that's why we also have, flat earthers, silverbacks, and so they are teenage versions of themselves. That's why my facade friend, as he stared at me, I have never yelled at anybody like that again. He's a brother, so I'm like, thank goodness I have all these people that I got to be the reactive me. Then my mother and my twin are the ones who still get the 3-year-old, but other than that, I am very blessed to have been given the opportunity in this lifetime and in the future ones to completely continue experiencing Dharma and making fun of those who think they know what Dharma is while they are actually living karma. And there's a self-fulfilling prophecies are really, anyways, we're going to continue this, so tune on in if you want, and you don't have to. Again, we'll be back with more. Have a good one.